Good morning, guys. I know it's a little early on Sunday or Saturday. Sorry. What this is what I'm doing is, have you ever had? I mean, this is a typical toy little poodle that we end up having that comes into our shops or our mobile grooms and things like that. And the last time I groomed her, as you see, she's just one length all over. Okay, because I think I did like a 5 on her. It was still warm about a month ago, and so it's cooled down. It's a month later, and she wants some. She says, "Can you style her like a poodle?" She already looks like a poodle because we shave her face and do her feet. But I'm going to show you a few little tips to poodleify a clip. Okay, so when you have a dog that comes in, it's been shaved all over. They're usually just coming in because they don't want any length off the body, but you or the client want some more shape and some defiant angles and things like that. Okay, this is a great time right now at this time of the year. Dogs that come in after being groomed 4, 6, 8 weeks ago, and they were shaved, but they have just enough coat to start working with to start practicing your stylings so that when you can eventually work everybody over if you don't want them all to be shave downs. Don't get me wrong, shave downs are good, easy, and they're pretty much the bread and butter of our business, but we all get bored of those after a while, don't we? So I'm going to show you a few little things to take on, like a poodle, for instance. Okay, we're going to do poodle. We'll do Shih Tzus and Malteses later on as they come in, but you can do this with your Cavadoodles and your Doodle dogs and things like that. But be careful if they say don't poodle my doodle kind of thing. It's like, all right, whatever. So today I'm using the Diamond Cut 3-in-1, and so far I've really enjoyed doing this. I've used this on a cat because I don't have a cordless clipper. I usually just have my my regular clippers and things like that. I've been looking at getting a corded clipper, or cordless, I should say, and been looking at all the 5-in-1s, but this one was definitely in the budget for me to get and try to even see if I like the concept of it. It comes with 2 batteries, and you can see the charger over there with the other one, and you can just swap back and forth from batteries and never really run out. I've been running a couple days on one battery before I actually decided to take it off and change it. So for instance, okay, these dogs, I've already done one side of her neck when I decided that I was going to do this video. So we're going to stand her up. We hold that hair up out of the way. I've already shaved her feet and stuff like that. Now, I'm hoping you guys can see, I've done this side right here. See how we've actually showed off that she has a neck, where this side it just looks really short and no neck kind of thing. So pretty much, I'm going to put the shortest setting and move this over to the longest setting. So there's only 3 settings on this particular one. But you guys use your judgment when doing this. There's no real right or wrong. I'm just showing you different tips and ideas so that you have them in your toolbox up here to use later in life. So when I go to do a poodle or any dog that doesn't have any shape to the haircut at all, it's just literally one length all over, we're going to start shaping it up. So okay, I take that neck really, really tight. Okay, here's the point. This is the beginning of her chest, and then this is about where her neck is. She's kind of got a little U-neck kind of going, but in that sense, you can still work with this and hide this. So we're going to shape up the neck, and I do not go past that ear. So the point of that ear right there, that's my straight line down, okay? And you just basically will float off that shoulder. So the angle of the shoulder, we're just going to float off of that. So this side, you just want to float off that shoulder. We don't want to take that all the way down. Okay, we want to keep the length there. And if it don't feel bad if this is not perfect or anything like that, because we can scissor this in. Okay, and again, if she'll stand up, I go just around that neck. So pretty much it's this little section right here. It's pretty much a square if you want to look at it. And I'm just floating off right here. Don't dip down into that area. Okay. So I can't tell you the different lengths and stuff that I'm using, only because they only say 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So it's not the traditional comb attachments that we're doing, because they just slide right on, and it's absolutely wonderful to have a blade that does this. So I'm now jumping up 3, so I think this is the 12 on this diamond cut. And then I'm just going to kind of finish going off that shoulder into that leg. Okay, again, I don't want to dip into that leg. I want to just slide right off. Okay, and so what we're doing is we're kind of smoothing this out. Same thing over here. So we're just kind of using the blades to help stair step so that we're not having to do all the scissoring. Okay, so this pretty much what I'm doing is I'm showing you guys how to cheat and not scissor. Okay, so this little section from here to the point of her chest, I really don't want to take that out. I want to leave some so I can emphasize that she might have a chest. Okay, and I'll take the underneath part and clean that up. So that's pretty much the chest done. All right, so we move on to the back. So what this has done is it's shortened her chest up some so that we can see that she has a neck. You can see a little bit right here. Alright, so the next is the back. We want these dogs to look like a square, okay? They should be the same length as they are tall. A lot of dogs right now are longer than they are taller. So now, going back to the 4, which is the exact same thing I used on her neck, okay? We're going to come over here and do her butt. Now, you saw that I did a Border Collie maternity clip kind of thing. It's similar, okay? Those 2 pin bones that I pointed out in that video, they're right here. They're just underneath. Now, she's a fatty, and she doesn't have a shelf, okay? That shelf meaning they sort of have this angle, okay, right from here to here. It's pretty steep. It should only be like a 30-degree angle, and it's nearly like a 45, because obviously she's not a conformationally bred dog for the show. But as you can see, she doesn't really have a level top line, so we're going to try to get her to stand that way. Okay, so those pin bones are about right here on her. And where her leg bends, okay, that is the part, so from this point right here to here, we're going to shave that bit really short. Okay, we don't want to go onto the side, on the side of the leg. We just want to do the back half of that leg. So we're going to take that bit real short. I'll do it on both sides. Okay, this is what this is doing, is emphasizing the angle. Now, when I say you don't want to go past that bend in that foot, we want to keep some of this hair up, because again, if you follow that all the way down to that hock, you're just going to emphasize and show how much she is straight-legged and has absolutely no legs or no angles at all. So as you can see, we've given her a whole lot more of a dish right there, okay? So if she was to stand normal, okay, because these legs, we just emphasize that she has a more elegant curve to her leg, basically. Okay, and I'm just putting this in real simple terms for you guys. Alright? So, if you want to, and you want to go even shorter, and you can blend it, you can actually take this and go in reverse. Okay? If you need to do that to clean up, that's fine. I don't like scissoring back there because it's too big of a risk to cut anything. Now, I'm going to go up I don't know. This is where you play it by ear, okay? But more or less where I'm shaving are the techniques that I'm going to show you. This would be the second one up, so it would be an 8. Hi, gorgeous. Okay. So, the next thing is we would like to give her a level top line, okay? But that's going to be very hard because you do, and she does sort of have a level top line, okay? She's not too hunched up like right here, but we want to lightly take some of that off, okay? So right about that rib cage, the halfway point of the dog, okay? So look at the dog, right about there is where I'm just going to skim it, and that's her butt, okay? Up here we have more hair. We're not going to take that much off right there, okay? And we're just going to kind of float off. See, I can groom without a clipper bag. Some people have said I can't, but I can. So we're just going to level off. And what we're doing is we're just roughing in, guys, okay? We're not going hog wild. So that's pretty much leveled her top line. She doesn't have much of a neck. I wish I had more hair, but again, we're working on growing that all back. Now that I've got a level top line, okay, like I said, you want to divide this dog. Her end of her rib cage is right here, okay? She's pretty nicely proportioned at the moment, so just probably a hair more is about where that middle section is. Ideally, if we were growing her out into a full poodle haircut and everything like that, we would have definitely more hair in this pocket area, okay? Because we want that tuck up to be right here, which emphasizes how much shorter they are. When you emphasize way back here, that tuck up, you make them just look that much longer, okay? So for competitions or shows, now remember, these are pet dogs. You're practicing. If it's not the end of the world, you're just going to make the dog look more stylish for the client. This is the time to practice, okay? So what I'm just giving you are a few little helpful tips. So we take the front off, we leveled the top, we've dished out her back. The next thing we're going to do, because that's the middle of her, just right there next to it. We're not going to go any further than that. We're going to, her loin is about right there, okay, and then we have this little spot that dishes in. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to emphasize that she has a waist, we're going to emphasize that she has a tuck up, and we're going to emphasize that she has a much more spring of rib. When most of the time when I see poodles, they look like they're slab-sided, literally just straight across, and that's not it. They need to have the spring of rib because that's also what keeps them buoyant when they are in the water swimming. I know, beautiful. So we're going to just, this is just a little trick that I do to save me some scissor time, okay? Because I have a heck of a time trying to get things to match on either side, but if I can just quickly rough them in and only have to clean up the edges, it saves me so much, like I said, heartache for me. So we're just roughing in before we start scissoring, okay? So like I said, there's the middle of her, okay? We're gonna go literally just right there. So don't go any further, don't go any back. I know it kind of looks a little funny, but here, I'll grab my scissors. Okay? So like I said, that's just a marker for me to tell me, stand up, okay, that I can come in here and I can scissor a whole lot more out underneath. Okay, stand up. Let me just kind of take that little edge off. And like I said, we do wish we had more hair right here, but we don't, okay? So I know that. But we will leave that for now so that we have hair for next time. Okay, so now we give her that nice little tuck up. She'll stand there. And we gave her more of a rounded rib at this point, okay? Now, I did forget to shave her belly, so that's what you guys are seeing down there. But like I said, I know that we needed more hair here, but we don't have that, okay? So we just have to work with what we got. But by doing that, okay, just taking it the same length as we did the top of the head, just gives me enough to start rounding this off and giving her a rounded chest. And her elbow is right here. The chest should be right at the elbow, not below it. So we can actually scissor quite a bit of this off. So usually on most of my poodles that I do, this underneath side is pretty short. And then you can kind of clean up any little lines. So we're really not going to touch too much everywhere else. Okay? So that now just gave her some spring of ribs. So I start kind of in the middle on both sides. I'll do this side real quick. Stay. So as you see, I'm just really taking those edges and blending them in a little bit better. And making her head look like a waist. She is a little fatty. So anytime that you can make a fat dog look like it has some proper waist and curves and things like that, that's always appreciated, to the client at least. Makes them feel like their dog's not fat. Okay, and again, if we can, all we got to do is just level off these few little spots that I scissored, or that I clipped. And again, I know we need more hair here, but again, we're just going to go with it, okay? Then when we come over here to the back, at all costs, you do want them to stand as natural as possible, but you want them to stand correctly, because if her tail was up and she was able to lay flat, and I know this is hard, she would have an angle right about here. Okay, we want to try to create that 30-degree angle or so that they're supposed to have on that to sort of give her that shelf, but we don't have that. And I find when I do this, I take it very, very short. So there's really not much hair here on her butt, okay? And then I kind of just put her tail down and I use that to help get me straight across. Okay, and then I can always take off what little bit I have right here at the front of that tail. Because again, she does not have the greatest angles back here. But you can certainly try. Okay, now that we sort of kind of have that set, okay, we have like a scissored line here and a shaved line here. We have this little ridge right here that we need to blend in some. So you just slightly round that off into the leg, because again, we aren't doing the whole dog. Now I'm as you see, I'm using curved scissors the entire time. I rarely pull out my straights, just because I've learned to do it all with my curves. So now that we've rounded this into the leg, okay, we need to kind of concave that. We need to work this in. This is where the curves come into play. Don't go too far into this hair, because we kind of want to fluff that up. Okay, now here's the thing. I don't know if you guys can see it from there. I find if I take my scissors and try to just follow that angle, I cut too much off. So if I pick that foot up, okay, I hope you guys can see this in this angle. If I pick that foot up, I don't touch anything on the hock, but you can see this little, there's this little bit right here that I scissor off so that it meets the point in there. So again, I don't take anything off the hock. It's just literally that little triangle piece that I'm taking off right there. And ta-da, we show some more angles. And if you need to, pick that up, because it just makes it easier to get in there so that you are not cutting that hock area. And then you can just lightly touch those edges. Okay, and we've given her, and yes, we also know we need a whole lot more hair. So if you take this really short, you need hair right here. If you leave a whole bunch of hair here, you're going to trim that in a little bit more. We would probably need a little bit more hair on the front part of this leg, but not much, because you still want to show a knee. A lot of times people go from here and straight down and they have all this hair right here. You still need to show that knee angle. And again, we're just starting to shape her up so that she has some more style going home. So now that we've done the back end, okay, we're not going to really do fussing around too much, because again, we're just shaping her. We're not scissoring everything. Okay, so we bring her back over here. Okay, and remember how I said right here in this section you wanted to leave a little bit of more hair? You didn't want to take it off, because that's how you start to get that round chest that you see like us give the dogs in the show ring. That little section right there helps a lot, because it's basically a big round bit right here. It's not a lot of hair, okay, but it's enough to give you that shape. So again, if we had more hair there, I will usually take this even tighter right here around the neck, like my shave lines. Those shave lines literally blend right into the rest of that coat. And then right here behind that ear. And we start just blending in all those little all those clipper lines. I hope that I'm not in the way. Oh, that was a fly. Sorry, guys. And then you start blending down into the legs. As you see, I didn't take anything down on the legs because, again, she was shaved down last month with like a 5. So we're working on growing some of that coat back. We're just starting to shape her up now for winter. So, so again, we have that little line right there that I've clipped. We're pretty much just going to start working that in. Now, one of the things that I was told by an old man when I was grooming, starting to groom, and I was doing some show dogs and stuff like that, he saw that I was having some trouble when I was scissoring and getting things to match and line up and things like that. A really good rule of thumb that he told me is the angle of the bone. So her bone is right here, and we have a bone right here. Scissor perpendicular with it, or perpendicular. So if that bone goes this way, you want to groom this way. So you'll follow down to that point. Okay. So now I'm level with that bone. So then I turn my clippers and I'm going to go this way. And this will help so many times. So the ribs go this way. Okay. We want to scissor this way. And we scissor to the middle of that dog. So there's the middle. So I'm keeping my scissors at that angle. You can, because the ribs kind of come and roll around. Just remember that when you do scissor along with that, you're going to show more of your clipper lines. Go away, fly. You will show more cut lines, okay? Nobody says that you can't go that way with the ribs, okay? But you show so many more cut lines when you go that way. And ever since he told me that, okay, if I can actually just pull those legs forward and I can come in here and scissor perpendicular to those ribs, I have a whole lot less scissor marks on my dogs. So same thing over here. Okay, I haven't done this hip over here. So we have a hip bone this way. I'm going to scissor this way with it. And then we have a bone here. So I'm going to scissor this way with it. You can scissor down that leg. Okay. And scissor this way. And then we have another bone here. We're going to come in and we're going to scissor the other way. And if you can learn to do that when you start scissoring, think about what you're doing. You can have a whole lot less scissor lines when you're doing all your scissor work and things like that. Because I know so many people are not good at scissoring. Neither am I. We all have our problems. We all have our things that make grooming difficult in some manners. So we all have different styles and different techniques. And I mean, I hope this helps, because then all you have to do really is just lightly clean up these legs, and you can say you've done a tidy up. Okay, I got to do her face still and probably touch up her tail. But as you see, we have given her some shape in just a few minutes and helping start that transition to more of a poodle style cut. You can do this with just about any dog. I would say on Shih Tzus, you just don't do this middle part. You don't need to do that. But everything else, the way the chest is groomed, the way the butt is groomed, is exactly how I would do any other dog, especially when I'm doing a comb clip all over. That is how you throw some style into just a plain groom, alright? Keep inviting your friends. Keep watching. Tell me if there's something else out there that you want me to do, and please don't hesitate. If you have a tip that makes things life easier when it comes to grooming, please, please, please feel free to share it. All right? Thanks, guys. Bye.